Alright, so I'm gonna do it over, Joe. It's 9 in the morning. I haven't slept for like 24 hours, so I'm feeling a little bit out of it. Basically, I want to talk about my time on Emperor. I did a podcast of this with Ethan Carnian, Ethan Carnian, and that doesn't look like it's getting uploaded. Where I talk about my time there, but I thought it'll be better maybe making a video talking about it, because I'm not sure if that's ever getting uploaded, and if it does, I think this could be better to talk about it, you know, on my own. So I'll start with when I first got picked up by PDM, as it was. I just came off my tier 3 team in NA, and I was looking for a team, and Sam picked me up. My first scrim with them, I was washed as a motherfucker, and I was a Zarya one trick, but I immediately joined. I had an impact on the team, and I got picked up. So in a period of a couple of weeks with that team, I was then promoted to, I was promoted to like a sort of captainy role, because I had so much experience winning orgs. I had my NA org where we had a tier 4 team for a brief stint, we had a tier 2 team, we had a tier 3 team. It was a lot of fun. So I knew how to run an org, I knew how to deal with players and all that kind of good stuff. So they put me to captain to help out, because they didn't really have a set sort of, I don't say captain sort of thing, but they didn't really have a set hierarchy of players, I suppose, which they needed to be a top tier team. We then were preparing to head into CGL as our first tournament after a few months of scrimming together. We then head into CGL with me on the starting roster, which everyone still to this day forgets about, and we did really well. We popped off and we did, incredibly. During this time period, it was a matter of me and Bradley were co-captaining the PDM team, but Bradley was basically running it. I didn't get much of a say in decisions. I basically just helped find scrims and did little bits here and there where I could. I then spoke to Sam about this, saying, Sam FM, who is the current owner and has been the founder and owner since its creation, that I was feeling like I was not being heard out by Bradley. At this time I was benched through Andrew J, who is a massive off tank, just much better than I was. He then gave me owner for the sole reason of outranking Bradley and being able to call the shots, basically, and try and reel him in and limit the amount of control he had of his org. I was also brought in to be a bit more of a finance dude, where I would deal with the finances if we were to, say, win CGL. I was going to be the person to take care of the money, and basically just make sure it was spent in the right areas, because I'd come up with a lot of ideas for, shirts, a donation to a charity, things like that, which they are still planning to do to this day. So I was made owner, and one of the first things I did was I helped restructure the org. So I made it clear who was on the PDM roster, who was on the preschool roster, and took it into my hands to kick players who I thought weren't good enough, or just simply weren't the people who I wanted to represent the org. Players included some old school players from PDM and PPS, which not many people will know of to this day, and I regret kicking them, because I can still agree they were the right calls, but maybe should have thought about it a bit more. By any means. So the bits in here happened throughout the months. No one knew why I got promoted owner. I basically said, because I earned it, and I did some shit like that, basically. So then, after CGL, we took the loss against B Sports. and it hit the team very hard, very, very, very hard. They weren't used to dealing with defeat, especially in a playoff circumstance. So a lot of the team, and especially Bradley, got very depressed and weren't the happiest about losing. So I took it upon myself to try and keep the team together, and a lot of them were debating on quitting Overwatch altogether, or quitting the competitive scene at least. So I had to try and make sure they stayed on. So that was my job, trying to keep them into the team, which worked. It kept a lot of the players, but some of them didn't feel like they wanted to keep competing, which I can completely understand. During this time period as well, I found the org to be a bit more scuffy. We didn't have a proper staff team. We didn't have coaches. We didn't have any of that, and we were suffering from it. And that was our main weakness. So I promoted SCI, or Sean as people know him, to a staff position, as well as Fracture 21, because SCI had experience with Blackwatch Tower, which was about to start, and had experience with running that and having a nice Discord server so you could get me a nice template together. And we've begun to rebrand the org into a more serious, because after our performance in CGL and the fact we basically established ourselves as one of the most dominant teams, I thought it made sense for us to become a more serious org, rather than, you know, the PDM, which is jokey and a bit more laid back. A lot of people agree with this. We had some cool names come up and we settled on Emperor. I then paid, let's go with Melt, I believe it was £40 for a logo out of my own pocket. I just feel like I should mention that. This is how committed I was to this org. I was willing to spend money on it, get a nice logo together, which is still used to this day. You know, I went to this really trustable artist. I, you know, got some revisions done, came up with this nice little logo, in which we, you know, it was still a bit of a meme, but, you know, it represented the team quite well. So we went with it, and it's a beautiful logo, and I don't regret buying that to any, you know, for any reasons. So during this time period, basically my job was to sit back and run the Discord. I wasn't really in any teams. I wasn't competing. I basically stopped being a player for a period of time, whilst I basically just focused on the Discord. I would make sure the servers look nice, the teams are doing well. I would try and help out find scrims and stuff where I could. I was in a full-time job at this point in time, so it was a little bit difficult for me to put my entire time into the org. I decided to get PPS a coach, which I agreed would be George, which is one of the bench players for PDM. And I just helped here and there. Like, I was getting captains meetings together to try and help out the team, find out what was needed. We then got a message from Emerald Traders saying they were looking for an organisation, and they messaged me privately and said, would you guys be open to, you know, picking us up? I said yes, of course. The only issue during this was the fact our tier 3 team just lost Blackwatch Tower out, just lost out on Blackwatch Tower, and they wanted to go to tier 4. So it caused a bit of a rift, which Fracture 21 still experiences to this day, where a couple of players got too high for tier 3, and then some players didn't want to move to tier 4, so I got in this roster, and we hard debated on it for our tier 4 team, which was a great decision for the org. They picked up one of the best bosses in tier 4, and they did the org very proud when they played, and they were really dominant and played really well. So after this, there was a bit of a rift because some players couldn't play in tier 3, some players didn't even want to play in tier 3, and the team basically, the PDM just basically disintegrated, and we made a new team called Pingers University with the players that want to stay in the org. Two key players, Bradley and Spuds, left for a couple other teams until they settled with Reebs, who I then spoke to, and we managed to get them to come into the org under a new name, which was Easy Peasy. I had no real affiliation or responsibility with either Easy Peasy or Emerald Traders, because as much as they were under my org, they were their own teams, and they didn't really want to listen to me I got invited over to Discord servers, and I would do what I could for those teams. I said to them, if you need anything, just please let me know, and I'll do anything I can to help make your guys' lives easier while you guys compete. So it basically left us with our academy team, who felt kind of betrayed, since they were the only team in the Discord, in the actual org Discord server, while the other teams had their own little servers, and the community basically, the org basically split apart. I just want to say, during this entire time period, I was basically running the org on my own, with help from Factory 21, who I cannot help thank enough. If Mark, if you're listening to this, I cannot thank you enough for helping me run that org. I couldn't have made half the decisions I did, I couldn't have done half the things I did without your help, and you were such a key player into that org's, to where that org is now. Sam FM, who is the founder and owner, once he gave me that owner position, as I previously mentioned, he took a step back, pretty much, and only really did stuff with the social media side, as that's what he enjoyed. He didn't enjoy the more grueling side, which was looking after the Discord server, looking after the teams, that kind of stuff. And he was often inactive in Discord, and people sort of in the community and in the org saw me as that only real owner figure, which led to disputes, as not many people liked the way I wanted the org to be more serious and take shit more serious and be less, I don't want to say less fun, because I always strive for orgs to be fun, but just take the game more serious, take Discord more serious, you know, treat it as a team, you know, we can all be friends, but it's a team. And a few people didn't like that, and a few people just didn't like me to begin with. I don't know why to this day, but they just didn't. So that led to a few rifts, and once Easy Peasy formed, I could see them rifts forming even more so, and it felt like there was nothing I could do. Sorry. So eventually I just sort of moved on and sort of just helped out where I could, but like, I had still had a full-time job, I still had a lot of responsibilities. One day I speaking to Banjo and say, oh, I'm really enjoying Risa right now, I've become a good Risa, and if you guys need a new main tank, let me know. I was then picked up for Easy Peasy to help out in the main tank situation, because this was doing double shield, and both Trix and Ruben weren't good Arisas. That wasn't their playstyle. So they picked me up, and I was communicating for them. I was vocal. I was a good Arisa, you know. I was good enough, and we found massive success in CC. We did really well. But during this time period, I begun to take my role as owner less serious, and I felt more of a player than an org owner. I wasn't doing what I was used to doing, which was sitting back and managing the Discord, you know, telling people to correct and type in the right channels, you know, shit like that. And during this time period, a lot of shit happened, which was Just Meme, who was the coach, started making really rash decisions on EA, some which I didn't agree with, but I didn't know what happening, so I called him out on it, and he didn't like that. And I spoke to a few members of EA, and they said a lot of the decisions he was making, which he was saying he was asking the team, he wasn't asking the team, he was just making them, which they weren't happy about, and they wanted something to be done, so I did something about it. I tried to limit his power as much as possible, which I successfully did, and he couldn't do half the things he wanted to do because I kind of didn't allow him to do it. Easy Peasy as well, they just kind of did their own thing, and same with MO Traders, they just did their own thing, like they didn't really abide by the rules I had set for them, and I didn't think there was anything I could do about that, because they're doing teams, they're doing entities, I can't force them if they don't want to. So I was in this rift, it was like I wasn't taking my role seriously, and I would just want to be a player. So I focused on being a player, which led the org to not really have a leadership figure, or have someone calling the shots, which was iffy. So during this time period, we picked up Boomed, Ethan, as a coach, and immediately a couple other players in New York weren't that fond of him after stories we'd heard from XD. So I wasn't on the right battle booms, and I immediately had nerves and expectations of what he was going to do. So we do a 7-hour scrim block, and I was on the enemy team, and first Easy Peasy, which was a top 3 team in tier 3 at the time, it was a tier 4 team, and the tier 4 players were absolutely amazing. It was still draining on me as a main tank to be playing that long. TLDR, we play another scrim immediately after. I don't perform, and boom, just fully gets toxic on me. It was a collapse of my own personal drama coming into play, as well as basically being shit talked by this dude who I didn't even want in New York to begin with. So I lashed out, and I basically decided I was going to quit. For temporarily was my initial thought, which was I just needed a break. Like, you know, I finally got to be playing again, because I'd been bench like most of my career. I finally got to play again, so as a starting, and I thought I was doing well. So, you know, that bench kind of caught me off guard. Like, you know, it caught me off guard. So I decided I was going to, you know, take my time to sort of focus on myself, and then come back and just stick to being an all-rounder. Like my playing days are over. Eventually, once I left the Discord server and I messaged people saying, hey, I'm just, shit's happened, I'm not, you know, I'm just gotta take time for myself. You know, I'm quitting. A lot of the org took that as me permanently quitting. And Sam FM immediately promoted Bradley to owner, which was the role I previously held after I'd left. This is still to this day baffled me, as he didn't message me, he didn't talk to me, he didn't DM me whatsoever after I left. So it hit a lot. You know, I was basically disposed of very, very, very easily, and they didn't really care about me per se. So I went a bit of a tangent. I started shit talking them. I started, you know, I felt like we'd often talked in that org about being a family, and it was a situation where you find out your family didn't really care for you. And now the couple of people who did reach out to me during that low point, I gave you complete props for, and I'm seriously thankful for. You know, you knew I was down, they reached out, and it meant a lot. But to those who didn't care or took that opportunity to be an asshole about it, I never understood that. I mean, I'd played you guys for years and you didn't check up on me, which it was weird. But you know, I left the org, and I still love that up to pieces. Like, the people, friends, and associations and times and memories I have in that org will never fade. But you know, it's a situation where it's just mad. It caught me off guard, and it really hurt me mentally. And I've only recently bounced back from that. But that's basically just my story of Emperor. I may have missed some bits, and I'm hoping to get on a podcast with someone or some sort of other way to basically talk about it, where I can, you know, remember more. If I remember anything else, I'll add to it or anything like that. But yeah, that's basically my time of Emperor. The org itself is just a weird place to be, and they're a group of incredible people, but they have a lot of egos, is what I've learned from outside looking in kind of perspective. That's it. If you watched this to the end, appreciate you, thank you. I hope I haven't talked your ears off too much. But yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to talk about it in any more detail, just DM me on Discord. I'm sure a lot of people know my Discord or my Twitter, which this will probably be posted. So yeah, have a good one.